Okay, for this topic, we will be discussing the Securities and Regulation Code. So the Securities Regulation Code is Republic Act number 8799, which was enacted on July 19 of the year 2000. So let us define first what is a security. So a security is defined as shares, participation, or interest in a corporation, or in a commercial enterprise, or a profit-making venture that is evidenced by a certificate, contract, or instrument, whether written or electronic in character. So in short, a security is actually an arrangement evidenced by a document showing that you have or which serves as an evidence that you have invested your money, whether in shares, in corporation, in commercial enterprises, or profit-making venture. So that written document serves as your security or evidence that you have invested your money in these shares, commercial enterprise, or profit-making ventures. So the origin of security is from business transactions a long time ago, particularly in Europe, wherein enterprising individuals approach other people to invest their money in their business, and in return, these enterprising individuals give these people a document to show that they have invested their money in that particular business. And that piece of paper serves as a security, a proof that you have a claim to that kind of business. So the state or the Philippines or the government seeks uh, to regulate securities in order to establish a socially conscious free market that regulates itself, encourages the widest participation of ownership, enhances the democratization of wealth, promotes capital market development, and protects investors. So the government, through the Securities and Regulation Code, seeks to regulate the free market or the stock market for that matter in order to establish the market that is in this enumeration 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a market that regulates itself, a market that encourages the widest participation of ownership, a market that enhances democratization of wealth, a market that promotes capital market development, and a market that protects investors. So these are the aims or objectives of the government in enacting the Securities and Regulation Code. So under the Securities Regulation Code, there are two kinds of securities. Number one are the securities that is required by law to be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Number two are those securities which are exempt from registration as provided for by law. Okay, so let us look at those securities which are required to be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Okay, number one are shares of stocks, bonds, debentures, notes, evidences of indebtedness, and asset-backed securities. So basically, these are either stocks or bonds in written form offered by individuals, corporations, or commercial establishments. And these kinds of securities are required to be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Number two are investment contracts, certificates of interest or participation in the profit sharing agreement, and certificates of deposit for future subscription. So these are also required to be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Number three are fractional undivided interest in oil, gas, or other mineral rights. So these documents that are offered to the public are required to be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Number four are derivatives. from stocks such as options and warrants. So, stocks pa rin 'to. Number 5 are certificates of assignments, certificates of participation, trust certificates, voting trust certificates, or similar instruments are also required to be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Number 6 are proprietary or non-proprietary membership certificates and corporations. Number 7 are those instruments which are determined by the SEC to be registrable in its future operation. So these 7 securities are required to be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission in accordance with the Securities Regulation Code. But there are those securities which are uncertificated, meaning they do not have a physical document to prove uh, they are they exist in electronic or similar records, particularly those transactions not through the internet, through the stockbrokers na online. Okay, for the exempt securities, meaning those securities which are not required to be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission under the Securities and Regulation Code. So these exempt securities are generally certain classes of securities which are exempt from the registration requirement of the Securities and Regulation Code. This includes number 1 is any securities issued by the or guaranteed by the government of the Philippines or its political subdivisions or agency. Obviously, because the government is not anymore required to register with the government. Number 2 are those securities issued by the government of any country maintaining diplomatic relations with the Philippines or its subdivisions on the basis of reciprocity. Okay, so these are securities issued by foreign governments, and these foreign governments have diplomatic relations with the Philippines. And through reciprocity, both countries, the foreign country and the Philippine country, does not require their respective securities to be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Though the foreign government must comply with the disclosure requirements as required by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So, disclosure na lang ang need, hindi na kailangan ang registration. So, government pa rin ito. Number 2 are certificates issued by a receiver or trustee in bankruptcy, duly approved by the proper adjudicatory body. So, oftentimes, these are certificates that have been ordered for sale by the receiver court. So, this is court ordered, meaning still government kasi court. So, these securities are exempted from being registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Number 4 is any security or its derivatives regulated by the Office of the Insurance Commission, the Housing Land Use Regulatory Board or HLURB, or the BIR, the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Obviously, because these securities are regulated already by the government through other agencies. So these securities does not need to be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Number 5 is any security issued by a bank except its own shares of stocks. Okay, mainly because the banks are already regulated by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, which is also part of the government. So any security issued by these banks are exempt from the registration requirements of the Securities Regulation Code, except its own shares of stocks. So this is the procedure for the registration of securities, yung 7 na dapat i-register. So ito yung procedure. Number 1, before that, securities may not be sold or offered for sale or distribution within the Philippines without a registration statement duly filed with and approved by the SEC. So yung 7 kinds of securities kanina that is required to be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission, those securities, okay, can't be sold or offered for sale in the Philippines if it is not registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. That is why it needs to be registered so that it can be offered to the public. So prior to the sale, information about the securities must be made available to each prospective purchaser. So dapat i-disclose ang mga information about those securities primarily because the government seeks to protect the investors. So the registration process involves the following steps. Number 1 is the filing of a registration statement. So ang tawag doon sa document na kailangan i-file in order to register these securities is called a registration statement. So the issuer, yung mag-o-offer ng securities, should file a sworn registration statement in the main office of the Securities and Exchange Commission containing information and documents prescribed by the SEC. And this statement must include any required prospectus. Itong prospectus, this is a document. More often than not, it's a one-page document that shows information about the securities that is being offered by the issuer. So, nandun lahat ng information about a particular security. Number 2 is that, or letter B, the registration statement must contain the following information: the effect of the security issue on ownership or the mix of foreign and local ownership, and the SEC may require additional information or documents including written information from an expert. Letter C, the signing and verification, the registration requirement, the statement must be signed by the issuer's executive officer, principal operating officer, principal financial officer, the controller, principal accounting officer, corporate secretary, and persons performing similar functions, accompanied by a duly verified resolution of the board of directors. The written consent of any expert name must have been certified. Any part of the statement must also be filed. Okay. Fee payment and publication. So there is a need to pay the registration payment, our registration fee, and then the publication of the security. So upon filing, the issuer must pay a fee of not more than 1/10 of 1% of the maximum aggregate price of the security. The issuer must also immediately publish a notice of filing at its own expense in 2 newspapers of general circulation in the Philippines for once a month for 2 consecutive weeks, stating that the statement is open for public inspection. So yung registration statement is open for public inspection at the office of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Effectivity and rejection within 45 days after the filing date, unless amended or consented to a later date, the SEC shall declare the registration statement effective or rejected. So effectiveness is granted if the statement is complete on its face and requirements have been complied with, subject to terms and conditions necessary for investor protection. So the SEC may either approve or reject the registration statement. How many days? Within 45 days from filing. So these are the grounds for rejection or revocation of the registration statement. The registration may be rejected or revoked after due notice and hearing. So there is a requirement of due notice and hearing. If, among other reasons, the issuer has been judicially declared insolvent, or has violated the Securities Regulation Code, or has engaged in fraudulent transactions, or made false representations, or failed to comply with the registration conditions. It can also be rejected if the statement is incomplete, inaccurate, or includes untrue statements of material facts. So these are the grounds for the rejection of the registration of securities or the revocation of an existing security, if any. So this is the consequence of effective statement. Upon effectivity, the issuer must state under oath in every prospectus that all registration requirements have been met and the information is true and correct. Any untrue statement or omission of a material fact shall constitute fraud. Okay, so this time let us look at the provisions of the Securities and Regulations Code that prohibits fraud, manipulation, and insider trading. So the Securities and Regulation Code establishes provisions to protect the market from unfair practices such as manipulation of security prices and devices, fraudulent transactions, and insider trading. So let us first discuss the manipulation of security prices and devices. So the Securities and Regulation Code declares that it is unlawful for any person acting alone or with others to manipulate security prices on an exchange like the Philippine Stock Exchange through actions such as wash sales. Ano ba yung wash sales? Effecting in transactions involving no change in beneficial ownership. So a wash sale is a sale of securities that do not really result to a change of ownership. Okay, but technically a wash sale occurs when an investor sells a security at a loss and within 30 days buys the same for a substantially identical security. So, parang binenta lang ng palagi pero binili ulit. Yun ang wash sales. So this is not allowed under the Securities and Regulation Code because it does not really involve a change in beneficial ownership. Number two is the prohibition on automatic na match orders. So this scheme is entered into by simultaneously entering an order for purchase and sale of substantially the same size, time, price, or for the same or different parties. So yung sa stock market na pag nagbenta, meron na kaagad naka-arrange na pag-purchase or purchase and sale. Okay? So ano to siya, manipulation na to make sure na may purchase na may sale na kaagad for the same size, time, price, for the same or different parties. It is also prohibited to effect a series of transactions that raise or depress prices to induce others to purchase or sell using manipulative devices like marking the close, painting the tape, squeezing the float, hype and dump, or boiler room operations. Kasi isa-isahin natin. Marking the close. Marking the close is an illegal market manipulation practice involving the deliberate buying or selling of securities at the market's close to artificially influence the closing price. So ito yung manipulation na pag sarado na yung stock market, kunwari bibilhin nila ng marami so that it will appear yung gusto nilang price, yun ang magiging closing price. Okay. Painting the tape is an illegal form of market manipulation whereby traders buy and sell the same security among themselves to create a false appearance of high volume or price movement. Okay, so this is a manipulation by a group of people na kunwari nagba-buy and sell sila among themselves para kunwari mataas yung transactions at saka yung para yung prices makontrol nila to make it appear na okay. Squeezing the float is a market manipulation tactic where traders intentionally restrict the supply of available shares while driving up demand, forcing short sellers to buy back shares at higher prices to cover their position. So this is another manipulation na ito naman parang hoarding. Okay, ni-restrict ng mga fraudsters yung supply ng shares para mapalitan yung iba na bumili at higher prices. Hype and dump is another form of illegal market manipulation where fraudsters inflate an asset's price through false, misleading, or hype-up claims to sell their own holdings at a high profit. So ito namang market manipulation na ito is the fraudsters will create hype para kunwari tumaas yung price ng stocks para pag magbenta sila, they can sell at high profits. Boiler room operations. Ito is a fraudulent investment scheme typically operating from a central location called the boiler room, where salespeople use high pressure, aggressive, and often threatening tactics via phone, email, or social media to lure investors into buying worthless or thinly traded stocks. Ito scam talaga ito. Boiler room operations. Okay, let us go back to the manipulation. Number 4, circulating or disseminating information that the security price is likely to change due to manipulative market operations intended to induce purchase or sale. Manipulation pa rin yan. Number 5 is making false or misleading statements regarding material facts for the purpose of inducing purchase or sale. Number 6 is effective transactions to peg, fix, or stabilize the price of the security unless otherwise allowed by the Securities Regulation Code or by the SEC rules. Number 7 is using or employing any manipulative or deceptive device or contrivance in connection with the purchase or sale of any security. So any kind of manipulation para ma-deceive ang mga investor into buying or selling stocks or securities. So these are prohibited by the Securities and Regulation Code. Ito naman, mga fraudulent transactions. It is unlawful for any person, directly or indirectly, in connection with the purchase or sale of any securities to employ any device, scheme, or artifice to defraud, obtain money or property through untrue statements or omission of material fact necessary to make the statements not misleading, or engage in any act, transactions, practice, or course of business that operates or would operate as a fraud deceit upon any person. So any fraudulent transaction of this kind is bawal under the Securities and Regulation Code. Okay, this one is very important, insider trading. Okay, duty to disclose. Actually, yung mga issuers ng securities that is offered to the public, may duty to disclose sila. Ano i-disclose nila? Yung any material fact that affects the security. So, kailangan disclose yun sa public para yung information na yun, yung material fact na yun is known by the public so that they can make informed decisions on whether or not to buy or sell that security. And if the material fact is not yet released to the public, it is unlawful for an insider to sell or buy a security of the issuer while in possession of material information that is not generally available to the public. Okay, sino ba ang insider under the Securities and Regulation Code? So an insider is defined as the issuer himself of the securities, director or officer, or any person performing similar function of or a person controlling the issuer. A person whose relationship or former relationship to the issuer gives or gave them access to material or non-public information. Number 4 is a government employee, director, or officer of an exchange, clearing agency, and or self-regulatory organization with access to material non-public information. And number 5, TP, yung nagkaroon ng tip. The TP, who is a person who learns material non-public information from any of the above insiders. So, itong 5 na ito yung consider ng mga insiders. Okay, meron silang information na very important material na nakaka-affect sa security pero hindi pa na-announce sa public. So ito yung sila mga insider. Ito sila ang nire-regulate ng Securities and Regulation Code na hindi nila gamitin yung kanilang knowledge of that material, non-public information ah, para maka-manipulate sa market or para gamitin yung information para magkapera sila sa stock market. So exception to the an insider is exempt from this prohibition if they prove that the information was not gained from the relationship or if the other party is identified. The insider proves they disclosed the information to the other party or had reason to believe the other party already possessed the information. So the insider is exempted from this prohibition if ma-prove niya that he did not gain this material fact or information with this relationship sa issuer or the other party, or that he believes the other party already had that information. So there is a presumption that a trade by an insider or their spouse or close relatives is presumed to have been effected while in possession of a material non-public information if transacted after the information existed but before its public dissemination and market absorption. This presumption can be rebutted by the showing that the purchaser seller was unaware of the information at the time of the trade. So ang presumption is may material fact na alam ang insider. And this presumption kasama na yung spouse at saka close relatives ni insider. So what is a material non-public information? It is information that has not been yet generally disclosed to the public and would likely affect the market price of the security after public dissemination and lapse of a reasonable time. So yun yung material non-public information. Information na very important doon sa security na hindi pa na made public. Tipping, pagbibigay ng tip. So it is unlawful for an insider to communicate material non-public information to another person who then become an insider. If the communicating insider believes the recipient will likely buy or sell based on that information. So bawal magbigay ng tip sa ibang tao na hindi pa alam ng public na about sa mga material information. So another feature of the Securities Regulation Code is the protection of shareholder interests. So the Securities and Regulation Code implements several mechanisms to protect shareholder interests such as tender offers, proxy solicitation, internal record keeping and controls, transactions of directors, officers, and principal stockholders, and independent directors. So itong lima, ito yung mga mechanism na under the Securities Regulation Code to make sure that the shareholders' interest is protected. Isa-isahin natin. Tender offers. A tender offer is when any person or group acting in concert who intends to acquire at least 15% of any class of equity security of a listed corporation or a corporation with assets of at least 50 million and 200 or more stockholders holding at least 100 shares each. Ito yung public corporation. Must make a tender offer to stockholders. So kung may person or group of person who intends to acquire 15% of the shares of a public corporation that is listed in the stock market, dapat tender offer sila sa stockholders ng corporation na yun. So this requirement also applies if the intention is to acquire at least 30% of such equity over a 12-month period. So this tender offer will also apply if yung tao or group of persons is intends to slowly acquire until they can reach 30% of those shares of stocks over a 12-month period or over a period of 1 year. So, anong required disclosure concerning the tender offer? Ito, the tender offer must be filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission and furnished to the issuer. So, yung tao or group of persons who wants to acquire the 15% or 30% over a 12-month period must disclose the tender offer sa SEC and to the issuer of the stocks or the securities. If the buyer varies the terms of the offer by increasing the consideration, the increased consideration must be paid to all security holders whose securities were taken up, regardless of whether they were taken up before the variation. It is unlawful to make untrue statements or omit material facts or engage in fraudulent, deceptive, or manipulative acts in connection with any tender offer. Okay? Kasi ang pinaka-purpose ng tender offer is ipaalam sa public na merong tao or group of persons who intends to buy a substantial amount of shares of stocks or those securities. Is either 15% or 30% as the case may be. So kung gano'n na kalaki ang bibilhing securities or shares of stocks, dapat ipaalam sa SEC at saka sa issuer ng securities para malaman din ng public. Proxy solicitation, another feature that protects the interest of a shareholder. So proxies and their solicitation must conform to SEC rules. So may rules ang SEC for proxies. Proxies must be written, signed by the stockholder and filed with the corporate secretary. So yun ang requirement. A proxy is generally valid only for the intended meeting. And if for more than meeting, it cannot be valid for a period of longer than 5 years at one time. So that is another requirement for proxy solicitation. Brokers or dealers cannot give proxies regarding a customer security account without the customer's express written authorization. So in writing siya, dapat in writing. Another feature to the Securities Regulation Code that aims to protect shareholder interests is the internal record keeping and control. So every issuer, or every corporation for that matter, satisfying specific asset and shareholder based requirements must keep and make accurate books, records, and accounts. So that is one feature of protection. So they must maintain a system of internal accounting controls sufficient to provide reasonable assurances that transactions are authorized, financial statements conform to GAAP and SEC rules, and recorded assets are reconciled with existing assets. Ito, binabantayan din ng Securities and Regulation Code yung transactions of directors, officers, and principal stockholders. Kasi baka they are taking advantage of their positions. Okay, any person who is the beneficial owner of more than 10% of any class of equity security, I mean, subject to the reporting requirements or who is a director or officer of the issuer, must file an initial statement of ownership and subsequent statements within 10 days after the close of any calendar month when a change in ownership occurred. So requirement ito na to disclose, to report. So to prevent the unfair use of inside information, any profit realized by such beneficial owner, director, or officer from the purchase and sale and purchase of the issuer's equity security within the period of 6 months shall be recoverable by the issuer. So, pwede bawiin ng issuer corporation if merong ganito, unfair use of inside information. So, pwede bawiin ng issuer yung security na nabili using unfair use of inside information. Cases or suits to recover such process may be instituted by the issuer or by a security on behalf of the issuer if the issuer fails to act. So, i-file sa court para ma-recover. It is also unlawful for these individuals to sell equity securities if they or their principal do not own the security sold, or if they do not deliver the own security against the sale within 20 days, or deposit it for transport within 5 days. Okay, so this is another unlawful act. Another feature to protect the interest of shareholders is the provision for independent directors. So ito yung mga corporation na required magkaroon ng independent directors. A corporation listed on the stock exchange or those corporations na ang assets is 50 million and 200 or more holders of 100 shares must have at least two independent directors or ensure independent directors constitute at least 20% of the board, whichever is lesser. So itong mga corporations na ganito kalaki, need na nila ng independent directors. Okay? It's either two or at least 20% of the board, whichever is lesser. So not less than two. Put it more than two, but not less than two. So what is an independent director? An independent director is person other than an officer or employee of the corporation, its parent or subsidiaries, or any other individual whose relationship would interfere with independent judgment. So, in most cases, ito mga independent directors, they are not involved in the day-to-day operations of the corporation. Kaya sila independent. So, that's the end of the brief lecture on the Securities and Regulation Code of the Philippines.